Welcome to another edition to Behind the Game, DTK Sports Behind the Game with the Coach Dino. And today we are so fortunate to have just an amazing woman, amazing business person, amazing person, Dr. Allison Barber. She's the COO of the Indiana Fever. Welcome, Dr. Barber. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Oh man, this I would say so far this is my biggest interview because after reading your bio, I don't even know where to begin. Your story and your journey is amazing. My producer, Lacey Nix, she said, I think we should start with Title IX because of where we are.
Yeah, sure.
Right now in the month of June, right now the month of June, and the importance of everything else around Title IX involving women. Mm-hmm. and decisions that are being made in and out of sports. So we'll start there. What is your thought, and how do you feel about Title IX as it relates to women's sports?
You know, the thing that excites me about Title IX for the position I'm in here as the president and COO of the Fever is that I get both pieces of Title IX. So Title IX was really started by a woman, Bernice Sandler. She was a professor at the University of Maryland. She kept applying for full-time jobs and not getting them. And she asked the dean why she's not getting it. And he said, well, you're too outspoken. So she was actually the godmother of Title IX. Nobody knows her really because she was a professor.
Okay.
But Title IX was first and foremost written to provide opportunities for women to have education. And
right.
So I was just in D.C. I was at an event with Billie Jean King. She said, she just admired Senator Birchby from Indiana. He put Title IX into law as a senator. He's the reason why it became law. And when they wrote it, it said that nobody should be discriminated against education or other activities. And that was the piece that Billie Jean King said. Every time she would see Senator By, she would say, thank you for including other activities. That's what opened up the door for sports. And so Title IX really was about opportunities for education. Senator By's wife was rejected from medical school. She wanted to go to, I think it was medical school. She couldn't go because she was a woman. So he had a personal, he had a passion about opportunities for education for women. So as a former school teacher, I taught elementary school and then was a provost. I was an adjunct professor at Georgetown. So my first love is education.
Okay.
And then now I'm in sports. So I feel like Title IX, I'm bookended of the passion of both things, education for women, other activities, sports for women. And we've been at it 50 years. We still have a lot of work to do. But what people shouldn't lose sight of is the reason I was in DC was to celebrate a program of women from around the world who are being trained on the power of Title IX. I met a woman from Kenya, Africa. She's gone through this training program through the Department of State about how do you take the essence of Title IX. They don't have civil rights laws in some of these villages and countries. But how do you take what you can learn from Americans and to your own country? And now she has started a school for girls. She feeds 4,000 students a day. She's educating them, training them. Another woman in Bangladesh started a basketball camp. Deshi Ballers is what it's called. So sometimes in America we're like, oh my gosh, we've got more to do, and we do. But I think it's also important to say, but look how far we've come and how we're inspiring other cultures and countries about what they can do too. And so it's good to celebrate the success of Title IX and stay vigilant around protecting it.
What would, and you just spoke about we still have a ways to go.
Sure.
And there's a lot still to be done. What would you like to see happen in the future as it relates to Title IX as far as women's opportunities in general?
I think what we're finding is that there are still some schools that are reticent to comply with Title IX. And there's work being done in that space too, of saying, okay, everybody is, I used to work at the Pentagon and people would say, oh yeah, their heads going north and south, but their actions are east and west. It's like, yeah, north and south, but east and west. So universities are saying the right things as it applies to Title IX, but they're not really they're not following the rules
Right.
for women and opportunity. I think we see some of this throughout all of there's more work to be done in the NCAA, where you look at men's sports and women's sports. And it's not about equal.
Mm-hmm.
There's very few things in life are equal, but it's about equity.
Right.
So are we doing everything we possibly can to give women the opportunity and the benefits that they deserve? And there's work, and I think good people are working hard at it.
We saw a couple years ago in the Summer Olympics, the situation where the men had certain equipment to work out
Right.
and prepare, and it wasn't the same for the women's team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really shed some light on the world stage.
Yeah.
Considering where we are right now. I think about Pat Summitt and all that she's done, that she did when she was living, and what she did for women's sports. What do you think about Dawn Staley? And she's kind of knocking down some doors as far as endorsements and financial opportunities, winning some championships.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on her?
I have a ton of respect for Dawn Staley. I think it's important for people to calibrate. Organizations don't make change. People make change.
Yeah.
So we can look at that and say, oh, the NCAA needs to do this, or the Olympic Committee needs to do that. It's individuals who make change. And so I look at somebody like Dawn Staley, who is determined and focused and successful. Sometimes you have to have success
Yes.
to inspire success. And she has been successful. And she's determined to use her platform to advance issues that she's passionate about. Muffet McGraw, former coach of Notre Dame, same thing. So passionate about needing more female coaches. But I can't help it. I was just at our National Guard event this weekend. A friend was being promoted, and she talked about how a recruiter changed her life. The National Guard didn't change her life. The recruiter changed her life. And so, it's easy to sit on the sidelines and say these organizations, these companies, these, sports teams.
Right.
It's social change is a team sport, but it takes individuals
Yes.
to make a difference. And I think Dawn's doing a great job.
I think so too. So your journey to the Fever, it's amazing. And so you mentioned education is your first love.
Yeah.
You've served in the capacity as a form in government, in sports. How do you get all these? Where does all these octopus arms come from? And obviously you're super talented to be able to change and shift gears. I think we counted, you had 8 different careers.
Yeah.
8 careers, not
Right.
8 jobs, but 8 careers.
Right.
Talk about that.
Well, it's not for everybody. It's my journey is one that suits my personality and my passion, my curiosity and interest. I think you figure out you gain capacity and competencies. You're better at this job today because of the job you did 5 years ago, 10 years ago. This is human nature. We build on our competencies. And I've just had great opportunities. I have a passion for service. I've been a Red Cross volunteer since I was 16. So the fact that I had the opportunity to work at headquarters of the American Red Cross was a, terrific opportunity. My husband quit his job at a law firm to serve the country and join the Army, which is what took us, away from Indiana. When I had the opportunity to work at the Pentagon, it was because of my passion for service to this country. So I think sometimes if you just pay attention to where your passions are and you have an open mind to new opportunity. I happen to love change. I know a lot of people don't. I do. But what it also means is that if you change your career as often as I do, it means that you're willing to always start over. And that's hard work. It's like being a freshman in high school all over again
Right.
and not knowing where, the classrooms are or the restrooms are. It's like every time you change your career, you're always having to start from ground zero. That energizes me because it forces me to stay curious, to stay humble. Really it's a great because you're not the expert. The minute you walk in that door of a new career, it's humbling, and I like that too because it keeps me hungry to learn and grow and try to use my skills from previous jobs to take the current job to the next level. A little bit of disruption, you know, human nature, we kind of get in this steady space. So when you're the new person into a company, you can inspire and try to innovate. So that's exciting for me too. But I just have an attitude of, you know, why not try something new?
Mm-hmm.
And that keeps me motivated, and it's opened up a lot of great opportunities for me that you could never chart. You know, in Northwest Indiana, first grade school teacher, you would never say, oh, this is the great first job that'll lead to you working at the White House and traveling to Iraq in a war zone. You can't write that
That's
story.
amazing.
But I got to live it.
That's amazing. It seems like you've embraced the entire journey. You know, obviously you've had some ups and downs,
Yeah.
but when I let you speak and talk about it, it's like, you know, all encompassing.
Yeah.
Whatever comes with the experience, you know, you learn from the downs and you try to replicate the good things. So as far as, tell me what got you to the Fever. How did you end up? Well, what were you doing before you came to the Fever?
So I moved back to Indiana. My husband and I moved back to Indiana to be with family.
Mm-hmm.
Then Governor Mitch Daniels asked me if I would start WGU Indiana. So WGU, Western Governors University, is a national nonprofit online university. Mitch was on the board, and he thought there would be just this great opportunity for Hoosiers to be able to go to WGU, but if we made it the state's online university, it would give it a good,
Right.
strong endorsement. A lot of bad actors in online education, and he wanted to put his stamp of approval on something. So I started WGU Indiana. We had 200 students, 7 graduates. Our first, you know, graduation grew to over 10,000 students in
Wow.
Indiana. So I love that idea of helping adults just be able to accomplish their dream of completing their degree, bachelor's or master's. So I started WGU. I was there for 7 years. Then they asked me to start the foundation for the university. So that's the job I was in, as the president of WGU Foundation, National Foundation. And on a Friday, I got a phone call from the CEO of Pacers Sports and Entertainment. And he said, how about coming and talk to me about being the president of the Fever?
Wow.
So, and I laughed out loud because I was just like, that one, I did not see that coming.
So that wasn't a path that you kind of charted, you know, say, hey, I want to, you know, run a...
No.
Okay.
No. But I loved the opportunity. I loved the game of basketball. I played in my driveway all my life. You know, it's just been my sport. So if any other sporting team would have called me, I would have been flattered. Probably not interested. But basketball is, you know, it's a great game. I love it. So I thought, well, you know, this might be an opportunity to get back out of a national job back into a local job, do some good in my city and my state,
Mhm.
inspire girls, bring back, you know, part of my career has always been building brands. How do we reinvent and reinvigorate the Fever brand? So it seemed like a good thing, a good opportunity. And so I thought about it. It was, you know, the timing was a little bit rough, but it's always hard to leave something you love
Yeah.
for something that you don't know if you're gonna love, but you know, you take that risk.
Right.
So I didn't really pursue this. It pursued me, and you know, it's been a really interesting challenge and a good ride so far.
Well, speaking of challenges, you know, year 2,
3.
year 3. Last couple of years, Fever have, you know, struggled a little bit.
Yeah.
But one thing that if you are a Fever fan, you have to be excited about are those rookies.
Yes.
I really want to hear the story of how, and you might be writing the manifesto on how you can maneuver to get that much talent in one draft.
Yeah. Well, you have to have a really strong general manager, and we do in Lynn Dunn. You know, Lynn has devoted her entire career to women's basketball at the college level, at the professional level, and she's masterful. You know, we were in negotiations with trades pre-draft, and I remember somebody wanted someone from our team, and she said, well, you know, I need a first round draft pick for that trade. And they're like, well, we don't have a first round to give you. And she said, that's not my problem.
Go get one.
Go get one. And as you know, so it's really been enjoyable to work with Lynn and she got it, by the way. That's why we had 4 first-round draft picks.
That's amazing.
It is. So we ended up with, and now we have, out of 12 players, we have 6 rookies.
Mm.
So that's, that means you're
Extremely
rebuilding.
talented rookies.
Amazing and fearless. That's
Yeah.
what I love about this generation. Sometimes you hear people talk about Gen Z and in the workplace and some of the challenges that come with every generation
Right.
on both ends of that. But one thing I love about Gen Zers is they're fearless. And I look at our rookies and they will drive to the hoop against Candace Parker and Liz Cambage and with, no fear. And so they're doing 2 things for us. We talk about it with the Fever that we have 3 C's: commit, compete, and contribute. Commit, how can we be the best people that we can possibly be? That's within my control, is my commitment to showing up every day, all in, 100%, to be the best person I can be for the Fever. Compete, how do we compete for wins and goodwill and fans and sponsors and partners? Like, what's that, the competition piece? And then contribute. What do we do in the community? How do we give back? So these rookies are into it. I've been volunteering. We did Habitat for Humanity. We, Pride Week. We did Teachers' Treasures with my players. Stuff in backpacks. So I'm watching these rookies that have this deep passion for both the game and the impact of the game in the community. So that's really something that we're appreciative of, and they're doing a great job. And then they make the game so fun.
Yeah.
So
they're exciting to watch.
Oh my goodness, the speed of the game,
Yeah.
the pace, and just the energy. And what's sweet to me is when we came back and beat Chicago, the championship team. We came back from a 13-point deficit. We won by 2. If you look at the videos in the locker room, you would have thought we just won the championship. I mean, the energy and the enthusiasm over every win is so endearing.
One thing that I like. I coach high school football, and when you talk about competition and making an impact, and for as many rookies and young players as you have on this team, earlier in the year when you guys made the transition as far as coaching is concerned, and they were on a stretch, they had dropped a few in a row. You couldn't tell. I mean, if you took away the record or hid the record to watch them play, for young people it's really easy to get discouraged. Do I belong here? Can we do this? Can we gel? Their energy level and their play has been constant the entire season.
Yes. And I think that's what people are surprised. They say when you come out of college, it takes 3 years sometimes to scale to the W level, and our players are doing great. They're getting all the minutes. They're in the game fighting hard, and they're getting most of the minutes. We're starting 3 or 4 rookies. It's unheard of, but they played college ball at the highest level. So these are elite athletes, and they're committed to winning, and that's exciting to watch.
Talk about Kelsey Mitchell.
Yeah.
She's like, and I, with all due respect, to me, so my favorite WNBA player of all time is Tamika Catch.
Sure.
I've met Catch on several occasions. Her mom, her sister, great family.
Yes.
She's a great person.
Yes.
She's my favorite female athlete of all time. Watching Kelsey Mitchell play the game, she plays with the same passion and energy and love of the game, that reminds me of Tamika, which here in Indiana is Tamika set the bar.
That's right.
Talk about Kelsey and her leadership.
Well, it's so fun to watch Kelsey. It's fun to watch her play at this level. We've been, watching her develop year over year, and her dedication to the game. She's what I would call a silent leader. She leads more by her behavior and actions, and we're watching all of that develop. I think it's just exciting. I love it too, because not only does she have her bachelor's and master's degree, now she's applying to get her PhD.
Wow.
So, 1.68 people have a PhD. I love the fact that she's that committed to, you talk about Title IX story right there,
Yeah.
Amazing elite athlete and pursuing her education at the highest level. So, but Kelsey is just someone you can always count on, and she doesn't have highs and lows. She's a consistent, steady person that delivers for the team and does it in a really humble way, because you just don't see Kelsey pounding her chest and making it
Right.
about Kelsey. She's a
Right.
team player, and we're thrilled to have her.
Yeah, she's a lot of fun to watch.
Yes. When she
Or the
turns it
recipe.
on,
Yeah, it's like literally it is like I've watched a few games this year and I'm like, I don't want to get up and go, because she can go from end to end. She can spot up
Yeah.
three. She's a great ball handler,
Yes.
and she's really. I watch how her teammates kind of rally around her and they feed off of her.
Yes.
So that leadership seems to be very natural.
That's right. It is genuine.
Yeah.
And I think that's the team ball you see. You hear about athletes all the time that are terrific athletes, but it's all about them.
Yeah.
And would you watch Kelsey play? It's not about her, it's about the team.
Right.
She'll pass the ball as often as she'll shoot the ball,
Yep.
and that's a special person.
Yep. So coming in year 3, what has been your biggest challenge taking over the field?
Well, I tell you, our first year, the challenge was that we couldn't put a winning team together. So that was hard. The second year, we were in the bubble in COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Coming out of COVID, our third year, we had, that we finished last in the series. So what the biggest challenge for me as a leader is that the things that are happening that affect our franchise, I have no control over. And so that is, it's like being a president of a company and have franchisees all over the country,
Right.
and they're doing something that you can't control. But even then you control the license of the franchise. But you're just so far removed from the product that is what the franchise is about. So we're about playing basketball and winning games. There's not much I can do to influence the outcome there once we bring on the right GM and the coaches. So you see what I'm saying? It's my work is so far away from the end product that's a challenge.
But you set the tone by those decisions of who you bring in.
Yes.
And understanding what type of person and work
Yes.
ethic that they have.
That's right. But in every other business I've been in, if I meet a frontline worker, they can tell me about their challenges, and I can think about a strategy to help them with that. It's a
Right.
business decision. It's a marketing, a sales position. I've done all those jobs.
Mm-hmm.
If I sit down with Kelsey and say, what's going on? And she's like, I'm off on my 3-point. You know what I say to her? Good luck with that. Go talk to the coach. Like,
Yeah.
I have nothing. So that's just the reality of sports. I can encourage, and I do. I write my players all the time. I'm here for them. But in every other job I've had, there's been some competency that my frontline team is executing on that I've experienced. I've done it, I know it, I can help with. And that's different in sports, so it's more the morale piece, it's the EQ, not the basketball IQ is the role that I find myself in, and it's, I'm learning a lot. And
I like that, EQ, not IQ. I might steal that.
I'm sure I didn't come up with it, so go ahead. But it's true.
Feeling inspired? Then you won't want to miss the next episode of Behind the Game featuring Dr. Allison Barber, where she shares the secrets to her success. Sunday, July 17th at 6 p.m.